Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBudge Solutions. I found some interesting data about the housing market, and I wanted to share this with you guys. A lot of you guys know that I started flipping houses with my business partner, Nick Palladino, around the pandemic time. It was probably one of the best times to start because of the uncertainty. We were able to get in at some pretty good deals, and then we were able to capture that bull run that the housing market experienced. Now things are a little bit different, and not only do I like to talk about, when we're doing really well, but also maybe when things are looking a little bit uncertain, right? And I want to share both our successes, our failures with you guys, our areas of opportunity. I really hope that you learned something new in this video. I'm going to be sharing a couple different websites with you guys so you can do your own analysis in your area, as I'm sure a lot of you guys maybe don't live in my specific area. I really hope that you learned something new. If you do, I hope that you can consider dropping a thumbs up and even subscribing if you haven't done so already. If you have any questions after you watch this video, either send me a direct message on Instagram, and that's going to be linked in the description, or send me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link down below. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. And this is kind of like what caught my attention. I thought this is why I would talk about it. One of the things that I've always learned about news outlets is that they will always try to instill fear in you. I just think it's important to not just take it as a grain of salt, but try to see if there's any ground in which that they can stand on with talking about this 15 to 20% plunge. You guys can let me know down in the comment section. I personally do think that we have not only already been seeing price drops, but I think that the price drops will only continue as things become more uncertain. One of the things that we're hearing a lot about right now is the uncertainty of a potential recession because of how much companies, huge companies. I mean, Amazon just announced that they are laying off 100,000 employees. You're also hearing a staff cut from Tesla, staff cut from Apple, staff cut from almost every huge tech company. Robinhood just announced that they're laying off 25% of their workforce. It's insane, right? So as people begin to get laid off, you need to understand that if they can't make up their mortgage payment and or their rent payment, this is when we can begin to see a more aggressive shift in the housing market. The reason I like to stay up to date with this is even myself as a house flipper, not only with my primary residence, but with the houses that we're flipping, both on the high end scale and even now at the low end scale, you're seeing huge price drops. The reason I like sharing this is I don't know if you're a home buyer, someone that's about to buy a home or someone that's about to sell a home. But I think that the more in tune with current market conditions you are in, the more informed of a decision that you can make. I mean, we have this property. Actually, was texting Nick, who's my business partner, for one of the houses that we have posted for sale in Phoenix. We originally were estimating to sell, a couple months ago, I think two and a half months ago, sell this house for about $330,000. That was on the conservative side. We were maybe expecting $350,000. We're about to accept an offer a little bit under $320,000, and we need to understand that, first off, we just listed that property over the weekend, but we know that we could potentially have that property sit on market. But when you look at the data, and this is what I wanted to show you, this is just Gilbert. Currently, Gilbert has 1,352 active home listings. 145 of them are new home, right? New home builds, 60 open houses. This is the number that's staggering. 583 price drops. If you look at the data of where we were a year ago from today, the number of price drops were non-existent. The amount of houses that I can only speak from my experience, the amount of properties we were selling above ask and receiving multiple above ask offers was insane. Getting an offer below ask was not even an idea in mind. We knew we could sell it for more as soon as we bought the property because of how bullish the market is. The reason I'm sharing this with you is if you are seeing that there is a significant number, almost 50% of active home listings have now gone through a price drop. This should encourage you that if you are a home buyer, someone wanting to buy a home, you don't need to come in super aggressive anymore. You don't have to come in with the terms of taking it as is or making a super aggressive above ask price offer. Of course, if you love the house, I never like to encourage people to just wait back and then someone else can scoop it up. But especially if you're either trying to look for a good deal, maybe a property that you're going to turn into an Airbnb. I know we have a lot of people that follow us that are looking for their first rental property. I think now is the one of the best times that I've seen in the past year where you don't have to overpay anymore. And I need you to understand this, because if with this simple video you can make an offer that's less aggressive and it saves you a couple $1,000s, then I feel like I did my job, right? This website that I'm using, again, you don't have to use it, but it's called Movado. You guys can go to movado.com, enter your specific area, and I think by looking at this data, you can have a better understanding of your market and how aggressive or less aggressive you should be with the different offers that you are making. This is, I think, something super useful. I'm a very visual learner, and I love looking at these overall charts. I'm gonna have to move myself so I'm not in your guys' way. I'm gonna move myself over here. But one of the things that I love about this is that in the past 6 months, we can already see that, at least in my area, around May to June, we've kind of peaked, right? Definitely in May, and then we kind of plateaued, and then now we're actually seeing a retracement on the average or median list price. This is huge, because if you're seeing the average or median list price go back or pull back in your area, then one of the things that I always ask myself is, are we going to continue to drop? And the way that I try to determine this is month over month, is at the rate that we are dropping or pulling back for the average median list price beginning to slow down, because you need to understand that eventually, right, we will hit that support, we will hit that bottom where, okay, supply has now met up with demand, and then, is that going to be at 600? Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, we're sitting at 615, but before we were sitting at like 630, 635. If you think about the numbers, I mean, that's already a pretty significant drop. But in my opinion, I mean, as interest rates continue to rise, I think that it's only going to be less encouraging for a home buyer to want to take out a loan, especially if we do enter a recession and then uncertain times. At that point, I think that's where we can really begin to see the transition from a seller's market, meaning that sellers dominate the market, to then a buyer's market, where it can encourage you to, interest rates might not be the most affordable right now, but if you're getting a killer deal on a house, you can always refinance 1 or 2 years later down the road, right? And that's one thing that I want to get out of people's head, maybe the people that are doing it for the first time. I know that even 2015, when I bought my first property, I was 20 years old. I was told back then that the market was going to crash, even back then, right? Obviously, markets are now much more inflated. I think a retracement and markets correcting themselves is needed right now because of how big of the jump we made year over year, right? I think the increase that we've seen in the past year in my area, I had it up here. It was about like 27% was the increase that we saw in my area, which is absolutely insane, right? I think seeing a 10 to 15% drop would be healthy for the overall market. And the reason I say that is because of, understanding that I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but people always look out for that 2008 number of like, well, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash and then I'm going to buy. And those people at the end of the day never actually end up buying. They've been saying that since, any 2012, 2013. And one of the things that I've learned is like, my job is not to be a perfect investor. I will never be a perfect investor. My job is just to make sure that the opportunities that I choose to take advantage of actually make sense. I think that ultimately what is most important is that you understand current market conditions, you understand prices can continue to drop. So if you find a killer deal, you know that your job is still to take advantage of it, make sure that your numbers are conservative, and that you could always refinance later down the road to maybe increase those net margins if it's an Airbnb and or if it's a primary residence or even if it's a rental, right? There's so many different ways to approach this, but I think one of the worst things that you can do is continue to feed yourself the idea that the market has to absolutely crash And at that point, even when the market does end up crashing, most people don't even end up buying because they're still too scared to do so. So I like to keep a very level-headed approach in the market, both in the stock market and in the real estate market, where I'm not afraid to take advantage of an opportunity, but I definitely want to be selective. And I think that's a win-win approach, at least in my opinion. One other thing that I wanted to point out is the median days on market. You guys can compare down in the comment section based off of what your area is pulling up. But right now we have a 35 median day on market. How many times a year ago did we hear that properties were selling in what? 1 to 2 days, multiple offers over ask with unbelievable contingencies, right? The median price per square foot in my area is $290. Obviously, if you live in a more populated or nicer area, it's going to be much higher than that. I just feel like this information is super, super useful. The reason I find it to be so useful is it allows us to actually analyze current market conditions to make a more informed decision. And I wanted to give you guys an example of this, of how aggressive prices are dropping. And this is the last example that I will give you. First off, this property was listed for 114 days. Check this out, 114 days. Okay. It's now under contract for around 1.7 million. This is a property that I was looking at. The original list price, I love looking at this stuff. The original list price was 2.75 million. It dropped it to 2.6, and look at the dates, right? This is around April. 2.7, 2.6, 2.4, 2.2, 2.1, and then boom, they're like 400K off the top, right? Insane, 1.7, and then after that 1.7, in that area, that's actually a pretty good deal. It's probably the cheapest price per square foot in that neighborhood that I've seen in the past year. But you can tell that how desperate people have been getting. My little hack that I wanted to share with you guys, it's not necessarily really even a hack. It's just something that I know a lot of real estate investors are doing right now. And I'd love the opportunity to even work with some of you guys, especially if you're in the Arizona area. You guys saw how I showed you that property was posted for sale for 114 days. I would look at any property that's been posted for more than 30 days. They've been on market for 30 days, and I don't know if they've done any price drops. If they haven't, even better. If you can determine what an amazing deal for that property would be, and because it's been sitting on market for such a long time, I would reach out to that agent and see if you can make them a cash offer to get it even far below, a 10 to 15 to 20% below their ask, because it's been sitting on market for so long, especially with the uncertainty. Interest rates are going to continue to rise. The idea of a potential recession coming through. These are all things that everyone is aware of. And it's for the properties that sometimes get forgotten about because they've been on market for such a long time. If you are good with structure and with follow-ups, especially for properties that sit on market for quite some time, I mean, it's obviously not, it's a numbers game, right? Not all of them are going to accept your low ball offer. But for anyone that might be distressed enough, you can put yourself in an amazing position. I hope that you know that I'm a cash buyer. We buy properties all over Maricopa here in the Arizona area. And I would love the opportunity to work with you guys on a closer basis. This is something that we're proactively doing. We're still picking up and focusing on deals. Yes, I'm being a little bit more selective right now, but I'm not afraid to take advantage of an opportunity if the numbers make sense. Right now, I think we have a total of 7 to 8 active house flips going on, and we're always looking for more. I don't use hard money lenders. I don't borrow money. This is all money that comes directly from me. We buy our properties cash. So if you're in the Arizona area and you're interested in selling your house and you don't even want to post it in this, concerned market, and you want a cash buyer, or if you find a good deal and you want someone to partner up with, we always do rev splits. We can do an upfront finder's fee of a couple $1,000s. Whatever the case might be, we're open to any idea that you guys might have. All you literally have to do is reach out. So I'd love the opportunity to work with you guys on a closer basis. I hope that you found some of those websites that we talked about today to be somewhat useful. And I just want to make sure that, the whole purpose of this is I wanted you guys to be aware that, especially if you are an up and coming home buyer, that you don't have to be super aggressive with your offers anymore, especially with how current market conditions are sitting. And I just want you to look at the data to support your decision of not being as aggressive as needed. So I hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. Again, please consider subscribing if you guys haven't done so already. And friendly reminder, again, if you guys want to reach out to me, either send me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link in the description, or send me a direct message via Instagram, and that's that third link down below if I'm not mistaken. Friendly reminder, today is the last day for our Shop TechBuds Staycation giveaway. That's that fourth link down below. Head on over to shoptechbuds.com, select your favorite items, and for every $1 you spend, it equals, as of right now, 10 automatic entries for our Staycation giveaway. Just want to make sure that you are reminded, and yes, it does end today. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.